Peace and blessings, Apex Solo 1. Yeah, I'm on the phone right now, but go, you can record. Well, I could read to you from the text or either give it to you the way I, you know what I mean? The certifieds, yeah. Yeah. It would be like, let's see, go verbatim. Around 65 million years ago, many of the advanced ancestors from the dinosaur race died from a global cataclysm. Yeah. It was like an asteroid impact. Well, they think it was an asteroid impact, but it was more like a fusion bomb that took place. This was in the orbit or the high atmosphere of the planet. You know what I mean? Well, this was like a global war between them. In your Bible, it would be the war in heaven. But what it was it was the reptilians between alien groups. About for the last 70, 80 years, even on this planet, war's been going on between alien groups to advanced alien species. And to be honest with you, you couldn't really even pronounce their names because, like say for instance, let's give you an example. If you had a brain and they said it's 360, with your brain they say 360 degrees an hour. Say if you fill it all up with 360 degrees. Or excuse me, you just do a car and its speedometer is 200 miles an hour. That's all it can do. You could put racing heads in this and get a little faster, but to try to get it to go 400 miles per hour or something like that just wouldn't be within the technology of what you built. So pronouncing these names, these different alien species names, would not be within your larynx, within your pronunciation, your tongue. You couldn't move that way. It would be a different shift in your tongue you would need to even pronounce these people's names. If they told you their names, it would hurt your ears. But you're dealing with humanoid races from this solar system and the star constellation that you call Procyon. On maps, they call them Procyons. The one that was reversing, one we was versing, like reptilian verse. Species. So you had the reptilian species, and I think they call them the dragon, something in the Bible. Right. The reptilians didn't come from this universe. You understand? Scientists, they can't really understand the true nature of the universe because, with our mind frame, like they say, we can't understand the mathematics of the universe, and that's really a genetical programming of us, but we don't know the truth. We don't know nothing about the universe. We're far away from the facts in the universe. There are bubbles. There are bubbles when they speak about bubbles. Yes, and like you call it another dimension. You know what I'm saying? But just say bubbles. Different bubbles represent different, I guess, omniverses or universes. You know what I mean? But you got to remember, they got quantum technology. Advanced species can walk through these bubbles, travel through these bubbles, and with what you call advanced quantum technology that will get you through these bubbles. And sometimes just with mind travel, they know how to bring themselves from one place to the other. You understand? But the bubble has to be right. It has to be the right time, the right, it's nothing to play with. Yeah. You got humanoids that came to the planet. The humanoids was slaves first for the reptilians. Some call them the Ajiji, that these reptilians brought slaves with them. These slaves later rebelled against them. So the plan was, what are we going to do? We need slaves to build, construct the pyramids, to mine for the gold. The gold they needed, a lot of people say, one of the sharings are that the gold was necessary for them aging under this cycle. And I know of other information about the gold also was used for their aircrafts coming in and out, meaning they needed the slaves to offer up the gold if they wanted if the slaves wanted them to stay here, because coming in and out of this part of the universe, being closer to our sun, the gold was needed to shield their ships. That was one of the reasons. Some of them, yes, consume the gold, but like a lot of people, like I'll even tell you about consuming gold. You have to be ready to know you got to digest this gold also. So if your body is not ready to house an extended element, which will be gold or silver, that some people is now finding the monatomic gold to place under their tongue and stuff, getting it broke down to a real fine sand. You had to make sure it was defecatable also, that you can defecate this out of you, because your body actually has everything it needs in it to run. And so a lot of us is running to the gold. And if you're more or less trying to get in tune with for transmission, gold is a conductor of your light, electricity. That's cool. But not to just be saying, I want to take this gold, I heard it speeds up something or this or that. We have to also be mindful of, it's not what you do, it's how much of what you do. So as long as we're consuming it, maybe years apart, maybe, I don't know, you might not need a whole lot. I didn't need a whole lot of it. I used some gold maybe about half a year ago, and it just definitely accelerated me, but I haven't been using it. I don't know if my body is ready for that extension, you know what I'm saying? So we have to also be mindful of certain things like that. Let's see, the hominoids or the Igigis, the advanced reptilians arrived. The humanoid, what's the story? The humanoids from Procyon, tried to communicate with the reptilians, but it was a confrontation that they wasn't able to do it. They wanted this planet not really, but for one reason, for the raw materials. A lot of the copper, a lot of people talk about the gold, but you have to understand the transformation from copper, I think, to lead to gold. It's a way to make gold. You can make gold and have it germinated. Well, the sun does germinate the elements in the planet, yes. But it is a way to make gold. You got to understand copper. Copper is a very important material for a lot of advanced species. You know what I mean? So you got to remember, together with some unstable materials, copper can produce new stable elements. If you know how to use a radiation field or a nuclear radiation field or a magnetic field, the fusion of copper with other elements in such a magnetic radiation chamber, it will produce a force field of special nature that is very useful for various technological tasks for these reptilian races or for these extraterrestrial races, I would say. But we wouldn't understand that, you know what I mean? So the copper was they fought for copper in space, in orbit. I think the humanoid species in the beginning was winning, but in the end, the reptilians, the more advanced reptilians, used the fusion bomb down here. And you got to remember, it was the so-called Anunnaki or extraterrestrials that we speak of that brought nuclear material here. They brought the knowledge of weapons here. They brought all of that here. And then, like I said, after the fusion bomb, the genetic material of the reptilian is left, and that's what we coded ourselves in. And that's just another way to speak about it, but you gotta be able to grasp what's going on. If the humans have an evolution of monkey, then the solar beings, we have an evolution also from the light. But we gotta understand, you took on genetic material. That has nothing to do with the solar you, the light. That's your cloak, your covering, the clothes you wear. You understand? From Adam and Eve's story, Adam being naked, being beguiled by this serpent, this God, this wise serpent, like women do, be beguiled by intellectual men. And that's all from the story maybe of the garden, because she was beguiled by this intellect with Adam there. You understand? What this was the female and the male. This was the creation, not us on the outside. We had the serpent coming over. And you have to remember that the serpent was the first of the evolution of the dinosaur. And you had flying birds, or the reptiles, alligators, crocodiles, turtle life, and all of that. That's why we hold the medical symbol of the serpent up with the wings over it, meaning something even higher than a serpent, meaning we understand the body. The serpent masters the body. This is all what we would call alien technology, or serpent technology, or higher technology that they brought with them. Advanced civilizations. All of this was done by way of elements. And scientists here have found in the dinosaur era the iridium, allowing them to know that's a certain element, allowing them to know that it was a meteorite here, some type of shower of something. But I tell you, it was a fusion bomb. But the iridium that they found here tells the story. The first story, the truth being found, is exchanges of technology, is what people have to understand. When you hear about Roswell crashes and alien stuff crashing, that's in the exchanging of your government in touch for years, for years, maybe 100 years already, with alien life. You got some good alien life, some bad alien life. And all the way back to the first Illuminati, the first ones they illuminated, the Nazis, to begin to police the world and giving them technology. That's why as far as back as you go and read about Hitler, they'll tell you he was in touch with aliens. Don't just listen to me, go check this out. Hitler received blueprints to build crafts and technology, so he began to try to take over the world, and they began to police the world because the evolution of the reptilians and us that came out of the evolution of the reptilians and the snake, the genetic that we use, because remember, that's not animal. Animal is a hybrid from us, from genetics. We also use some of us to speed up human evolution, mankind, that was evolving out of the water from the rhesus monkey and from that ape. That's a whole different story, the Adam and Eve story. This is the serpent walking over to them, teaching them about their nakedness, teaching them about how to clothe themselves. And thus you get Flintstones, where you see that leopard over Fred, and them knowing how to go out and hunt certain animal and tear the hide off of the skin and clothe themselves, which we do today. Let's clothe ourselves in leather, that's cowhide, or suede, or buffalo coats, sheepskin coats. This is still us covering ourselves with animal because they taught us, the humans taught us that. The almond beings, or the serpent race, covered themselves with what a heavy skin cloak that was here, that the reptilians had took on, the dinosaurs had took on. And since they were going to be side by side with them, they looked like the dinosaurs. So that the transmission given off was one, but the serpent beings in their light who took on the dinosauric genetic. And that's what you say, DNA, dinosaur DNA. That's what they get DNA for, from the dinosaur. And we just cloaked ourselves in that genetic. And as the years go on, that we shed, like that's why reptiles shed and we shed. And we come all the way down to now, to this skin, which is still a water suit, which is still sort of like to keep you from water. Because when you peel your skin back, you go into flesh, and then you get bone. And like I said early, they put up in museums the dinosaurs, but what they don't tell you is they found these beings that I'm talking about, that cloaked their life, these high advanced serpent beings, that same serpent that spoke, that man, that two-legged man that walked over to their Eve and spoke to her and said, did your master say this? Did your master say that? And began teaching her things. You understand? So that was the God, that high serpent being, and they cloaked themselves in the dinosaur. This is your material. This is your genetical makeup. This has nothing to do with your frequency, the solar light that's in you that you house, also that keeps you in tune with the rhythm of the universe, because you come out of these beings. They come from reflected themselves into this third dimension. It's like you looking in the mirror and you look, that's your reflection. That's what they did. They were too powerful to continue to remove themselves from the seats they were on. So to come down here with the dinosaur, they projected themselves, astral projected themselves here, then took on the genetic as scientists of the makeup, the same makeup that the dinosaur had. And we come out of that. We evolved out of that. That's what your skin is. That's why you use lotion. And when I say that we're from that's our line. And then all the way down, and we begin having babies. And it took years because this genetic had to germinate under the sun. That's why our body is made up of elements, and it begin to shed. And if you look at a show that I have called They Hide the Truth in Plain Sight, after you listen to this, you'll see I have that being where they show you him in movies. He's heavily cloaked, look like a man alligator. But that's how we cloaked ourselves. That's what we did from head to toe. And those were the good beings. And you're taught that the serpent are the bad beings, but that's not true. And then you have the beings, if you look in the Bible where it says we're going to create a man that we're going to call mischief. And you have a Adam and Eve project that's made from the animal that we hybrided out of the dinosaur. The dinosaur we used to kind of, like I said, Tonka truck the planet, to move things about, to get the earth ready. Even as early as the early serpents, the Loch Ness monsters, you see the serpents, the electric eels. The serpents and stuff was put here as like the first way to transmission. Everything about us is transmission. Soul, being in rhythm, and being able to use your brain to receive high transmission thoughts from these beings to continue their work. We are robots. We are technology. We are just human tubing technology from these advanced beings. The veining system, your penis is a tube. Everything shoots out, then buses. Everything goes through a tubing system that these beings brought here. And like I said, when you see crashes, and they can take out of a UFO crash, sort of like a airplane with a black box, and you go over everything, and you get a history or story of a past life, or what these aliens come from, what they do, because they hold data. And that will be the beginning of America or the armies or the government finding these, going to these crashes, because they're the ones in charge. So when I say they give you technology, meaning if a UFO crashes, if I'm up there and I want to send certain people technology and crash an aircraft, know that they're going to be able to go in and advance their civilization with all this new high metal that they're finding that I'm giving them. You understand what I'm saying? If I wanted to do that, I would crash it, but who would be able to recover it but armies and militaries? So the people in charge are receiving this, because those beings know if when they crash a UFO, what, some niggas going to get it? How black people going to go get it? What the fuck you own to go recover a UFO crash? The people in charge, the government that govern your mental, this stuff is given to them. So when you hear these things, and Hitler with UFOs and Roswell and all that, that is draconian, alpha draconian aliens, or the different race of aliens getting in touch with your government and advancing them with this technology. And from Roswell on, we begin to shoot up in computers and things like that, because they found the truth over 16,000 years ago, locked in magnetic plates. And these magnetic plates, like a dial that they found, and magnetic plates, and this magnetic plates, and it had crystal in it, and the crystal held stories, just like you see on Superman when he went back and they put a crystal thing in it, and it had a recording in it. Well, this is just a more advanced way of recording. Everything is recorded in light. The sun rays that come out, that we project out of, has messages in it, has a 00001 positive and negative system. The 1 is us, the 0 is the submental people, the humans. And for snakes, going back to that, the frequency or the signal comes into your atmosphere zigzag, like how a snake moves, zigzag, and zigzag zig. That would be that 1, that 0, back to that 1. And you look at any alien stuff, and you look on these ships, you'll see 0001, 0001, 111. The 1 represents us, the 0 represents the submental people. The zigzag zig is, it's coming in straight, and then it'll zig and bounce off the submental people that don't belong getting a message, and then it'll zag and go straight out again to the people with the solar energy that's tapped in to different dimensions to be able to receive this knowledge. You have to be in tune with this knowledge. and zigzag zig will be 666 coming from out the sun, coming from that way, the carbon beams. And these are our messages that you have to reach out and get. It's all frequency. And what they're doing is changing the weather with heart machines. I don't got time to go in it, but if you want to know about the weather, just look up heart machines. HAARP, I think, is something that they have in the bottom of seas, with technology that they can use to stir up the water and, you know, start tsunamis. And they already worked on the fake snow falling from a certain altitude and all of this stuff you're seeing. We're getting into May. It's still cold. You still need a coat. This is making people sick. This is all a part of like an apartheid, like to get rid of people, to planet depopulation and stuff like that. So they want you to not know the serpent information, yet they use it as a symbol of medical, because we knew we can cure the humans with it because they evolved from monkey, from everything like that, from animal. And we took on that almond genetic, because what better genetic to take on coming to a water planet. This planet was predominantly water. And the serpent life, the dinosaurs, the electric eels, and what y'all call Loch Ness monsters and all that, I understand they brought up the sea life and so that it could be land mass. It wasn't heavy land mass. It's not until land mass was produced from these reptiles, bringing them up from sea life, until you start creating land animals and maybe even land mammals like seas. But everything had to come out of the water that we took from a place, put together, dropped it onto this planet, and we began experimenting. And it wasn't until many, many years in that we even came to a point where we wanted a human project of slaves to do things for us. And then in comes human creation. But we took on that genetic because show me a sick turtle or a sick alligator or a sick reptile. They were immune to everything on the planet. Everything on the planet. And also, when we got rid of these dinosaurs, there was certain part of them that had flesh, because these was big, high robotic machines. Certain part of that had flesh, we consumed the flesh, and that's what we did for protein. Just like you don't see the cow, you don't see yourself slaughtering it, but you consume the hamburger or whatever, and it gives your body protein. So it wasn't like animalistic done anything like that. It was for survival under this cycle as we got here. We are the gods, we were the scientists, and we were genetically doing all of this. And when you see children that you see have eczema and all that, it's nothing eczema. You look deep, you'll see green, because reptiles are green. And that's the genetic we took on. And that's our side. And we come out of that into these high Amun Ra's and goddess and gods in Egypt, still wearing a snake on our crowns, and doing high sciences in Egypt with the pyramids and building constructions by way of as above, so below. And everything we did was built to the mansions in the skies that these beings was teaching us about, where they're from and why they came down here, and even why there's even an Earth project. So the other side, the negation, would be no more than our slaves put here to do certain things for us. We are the children of the light, but we lost that. We were bronze, we were golden as those Egyptians, and we were building. No huts, no kings, no nothing, just the law. We were the law. We brought it. We were everything. And then they turned everything around on us. So today we go into different topics, and also talk to you about single women raising males. It's not a good thing. Women should not be yelling at or even being in so much of the life of their son, even though they raised them or whatever. At 14 to 16, I would say now, you should not be in your son's life so directly. Let that man be a man, and he should be taking orders from a male, from a man, if not his father, his uncle, or someone close if you're not with your man. Because we're breeding homosexuals, you're breeding sensitive men, you're breeding gay people and beta men coming up with this woman. Or being around a woman, your son could get a lot of that female energy. And it's not good for these new young men of ours that we're trying to grow in this faggot homosexual society now, where you're a gentleman and you're answering to being a gentleman, and you're answering to being a lady. You're not a lady. You're not a female, sister. You are a woman. You're not a gentleman. my brother. And I said that in the show before. I'm too masculine to be romantic. You understand? I do things straight up. I do things on logic, and I do things maybe robotically. You understand what I'm saying? Because I am a thinker, and I'm constantly moving forward like, you know, a snake keeps moving, zigzag, zigzag with purpose, and I have to have purpose. So a lot of things we see out here is really mixed up, and we have taken on human, you know, human knowledge or education. We've been educated by the humans, and we have to get out of that and get into our own bright light and begin to build communities and move forward and actually stand for something. You know what I'm saying? So we got a lot of men out here right now running around still doing the same thing, and a lot of people see me doing certain things, but I do other things also. I have something in me that allows me to do this. You know, and then you might see me doing that. But I got a reason, I got a purpose. I'm building, I'm changing people's lives and giving people different ways to expand their minds and look at things. That's what I'm doing. I'm not getting up, going to no man's job every day thinking that that's it. Working people think they got it figured out because you went out and you worked for someone else and did nothing for your own self. So no, you don't have nothing figured out. You understand? So we have to begin to understand what a man is and understand what a woman is. Because I don't think we understand that. I don't think men understand what a real woman is. I don't think women understand what a real man is. Because she doesn't have an example of a real man, and men don't have an example of a real woman around them. Because you got these women who's been broken because of relationships, raising their children, doing everything by themselves, and they become hard, and you lose women like that. And there's no women getting in touch with the less masculine energy in her. I want my woman to be very, very, exercise her less masculine energy, but I want you to be mentally high. I want you to be a logical thinker. I want you mentally strong. I don't need you to be tough as a woman in a house. I'm the strength, as far as the physical strength. When I say that, I need you to be girly. You know, so because I'm a man, I want to be with a woman, and I want you to be sensitive and use your emotions, and you do all that because that's what you do. Yet I need you definitely to match me in mental. I need a mentally strong woman, a thinker, someone you can't just put something over on. So don't get it twisted. I don't need no woman I can run over. I need you to be strong and tough and all of that in a mental way. Yet be the woman and exercise your less feminine, your energy, which is less feminine than mine. And that's what I'd be meaning with that. But definitely I wouldn't be considering myself a solar being if I didn't want a solar woman. You understand? So we have to understand what we're looking for in these women. And there's women that constantly talking about bills, and you're not helping with bills and this and that and directing you to get a job. That's not a woman. That's a female who's took on human ways, human attributes, and all she's a bill person. She might as well go fuck any guy named Bill, because all she is her bills. What can you do for me? What can you do? Those are not women. A real woman understands a man, even in his potential. A man that she can't fuck over. A man that's intelligent. A man that she sees in the streets with props with other men. And that's all basically a woman needs. And see the potential in this strong man. Works